Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode here at Adoptions from the Heart TV. I'm your host, Amanda Aliberti. I am excited to welcome back Alison. Alison is a birth mom through our agency, and she has done several interviews for us in the past through AFTH TV, and we thought we'd do a check-in with her. So welcome, Alison.
Hi.
Alison, for those who don't know you and may not have had a chance to look at your previous interviews, can you give like a brief overview of just why you connected with the agency, what prompted you to want to work with Adoptions from the Heart, and a little bit about your open adoption story?
Sure. So I placed my son Isaac in January of 2017. There were a litany of reasons as to, why I chose adoption and specifically open adoption. One of the biggest ones being that I was still in the throes of addiction at the time. I should mention for context that I got clean May 12th of 2017 and currently have 8 years under my belt. I chose Adoptions from the Heart specifically because I was completely on my own for that whole decision-making process and then the subsequent pregnancy and actual adoption process. So I wanted to make sure that I was as well informed and made the best choice as far as what was right for me, because I was really the only person I had to worry about at that time. So after doing a lot of research and realizing that I wasn't sure on what level I needed it, but I knew I needed it to be an open adoption, and every bit of research I went after or tried to do always pointed me back to Adoptions from the Heart. And then once, I reached out and made contact with you guys, I met you, Amanda. My interactions with you and, the support you gave me in all of the meetings that we had leading up to, the official choosing is a lot of what influenced me to go with Adoptions from the Heart, because as well as I do, I was a pretty big mess at the time. Everything was falling apart and I just was so desperately trying to find some way to make everything make sense. And when I would fight you on going to my appointments or when I would just give up and disappear, you always kind of managed to rein me in and keep me focused and get me through that incredibly difficult 9 months. So I think I kind of knew that you were exactly who I needed at the time. Pretty much from the second I met you.
Alison, it can be so hard for women and men who are in an unplanned situation and they're contemplating calling us. Think back to when you were pregnant and you were at that early stage, what advice would you have? Because it can just be really scary of, do I make the call? Do I not make the call? I'm not entirely sure what adoption is going to look like. I don't want my kid to think badly about me. How can we bridge that gap of folks who maybe are sort of thinking about this, but feeling overwhelmed as to whether or not they should call?
I mean, honestly, at a normal time, I found out I was pregnant at a normal gestation. I was about 9 or 10 weeks when I found out, and my child's father and I had already broken up, and that, he made it very clear pretty early on that he trusted my choices, but wasn't going to be involved in the process. So I was completely alone and really overwhelmed. And I made the call. And one of the things that everyone should know is that there is no locking you in. There is no judgment, especially with Amanda, but on anyone that I've worked with or interacted with at Adoptions from the Heart, there's no, well, you made the call and you're looking into it, so now you have to go this way. Open adoption looks so different for every set of adoptive parents and each birth parent. I was terrified and I had no idea what I was doing or what direction I was really heading in, but I knew that this was an option, so I wanted to call and get an actual idea of what it was going to look like for me. And honestly, the support that I got from my social worker was invaluable, but you also let me know that if this was the route I chose, that there are so many different options that would make my situation work best for me and for my babies. It was pretty obvious. I was honest with you that when I called you guys, I was still an active addict and I wasn't sure that anyone was going to want to adopt my child, because I wasn't sure if they were going to be born with any sort of defect or any deficit because of my addiction or because of my genes or any other thing that could go wrong. And I was really worried that I would go through the process and then we'd get to the actual baby arriving and no one would want my baby if there was anything wrong. And the way that Amanda helped me navigate which families I, had to pick from, and never made me feel like bad about the choices that got me to where I was at the time, because making the phone call to get the information to make an informed decision was honestly the first good decision I'd made in a while. And even if you choose not to go this route, still having all of your options and actually knowing what they mean and what it'll look like for you specifically is still incredibly important, because it might not be what the person ends up going with, but when you're not even aware of how it would look for you and for your child and the family that you end up choosing, everyone kind of has like a set idea in their head of what they think adoption is or what it will look like. And I can assure you that it's never a cookie cutter situation. One person's adoption will never look like another. For instance, like my sister also placed with you guys, and she has a very open, super communicative relationship with her adoptive family, where with me, because of the way that I process emotions and because of the way that I had to get myself into a certain mindset to be able to do all the things I needed to do to have the adoption process be finalized, I wanted to give myself time and space to not only let them have time to bond with Isaac, but to also give me time to grieve and to give me space so that I could continue functioning and being able to wake up in the morning and get out of bed. I mean, it's an incredibly heavy situation, and it's an incredibly huge decision you're making, and there is going to be grief attached to it. It isn't going to feel sunshine and rainbows all the time, because you are giving away a part of yourself and allowing someone else to raise that child and become a family. And while you are part of it, you do have to grieve the part of you that is losing the chance to raise your child. But I mean, like, I want everyone to keep in the forefront of your mind that you're not giving your child away. You're not losing out on the awesome honor of getting to watch your child still grow up in a good situation, and sometimes in an amazing situation. I mean, like, I don't think I've ever met a family that Adoption from the Heart has, had in one of their binders that was anything less than amazing. And specifically, my adoptive family, they have gone above and beyond any of my wildest dreams of what I could have hoped for my son. From going to Rome, the Vatican, and then going to California and Hawaii and going skiing. I mean, they do things with him that I could only imagine in my wildest dreams, and getting to see their family grow together is an added bonus to the whole situation that I never even had really thought about, because I was still in the very beginning of it. You're supposed to feel overwhelmed. You're supposed to feel like scared. It's a scary situation even when you are deciding to parent your child. When you're about to bring a whole new human into the world, things get pretty heavy. Reaching out to Adoption from the Heart, if you think this might be a way that you might want to go, or just to get the information, is honestly, no matter what you decide, going to be insanely helpful, because Amanda had a really amazing way of breaking things down and making them easy to digest for me, and making things easy to understand in a way that didn't make me feel judged or hurt or offended, or like someone was trying to take anything from me or make me feel horrible that I was giving something up, because there's a lot of really negative stigma attached to this. Like, you didn't want your child. And one of the things that I constantly say, especially in the last 8 years, is that if I loved my son 1 ounce less, then I would have kept him. But doing that would have been catastrophic, not just for me, but for him and anyone that my life touched at the time. It's not just like me giving something amazing to my adoptive family by giving them, my child. They gave me the same amazing thing back, because they gave me a second chance at pulling everything together and getting my life right. And because I was given that opportunity to better myself and try again after addiction was finally out of the way, I then later became a parent again to my youngest, who's now 5. None of that, anything following my adoption, none of it would have been possible without the opportunity that being able to place him with them afforded me. And I think a lot of people kind of forget about the birth mom in the thought process after, the adoption is done. And the child is with the adoptive family, it sometimes can be scary. In your mind, you're thinking like, I'll just be forgotten about I'll just, fall by the wayside. But with open adoption, there's never a time where you're just going to be forgotten about or where you won't be involved, and you and your family get to decide the level of involvement and how you're going to be involved, how many updates. Like, it's completely customizable to what you're both comfortable with. And with having adoption from the heart kind of like as the in between, like the go between for at least the first year, especially, you're not faced with having to try to figure all that out with all the awkwardness and not being sure if you've said too much or not said enough. I mean, they literally bridge the gap, get rid of the awkward situations for you, so you guys can focus more on, them on bonding with their child and becoming, a family of 3 or more if they already had kids or what have you. And so you can focus on what you need to do as far as your next step in life, because no matter what the situation is that made you look at or choose adoption, it's always pretty much, this was this stage in my life and now I need to take a step to the next. And, adoption from the heart really did do that in between and all of kind of like the legwork for me to be able to focus on getting my life together. Therefore, being able to be involved in my son's life more, because now he's reaching out to me on his own, not just, through his parents. And it allows you to continue moving forward without tripping up in all of the emotion that you will feel and have every right to feel, and without making you feel like you're a burden on your adoptive family or any other of the natural feelings or, assumptions that you'll even make about the situation before you're in it. Adoption from the heart kind of did all the in-between and all the middle-manning for me so that we could just focus on what our new normal looked like and then adjust to it, while you have every right to be scared and overwhelmed about the very large decision that you're making or even just looking into making. Those things are all completely normal, but what you shouldn't be scared about is reaching out and asking for help or just more information or options, because there's no wrong way to love your child. But what I always kind of considered would have been the bad choice would have been keeping him for my own, selfish need of I want him here, I want to raise him, when I wasn't capable. And if you come to the decision that you just aren't capable for whatever reason, it's my opinion this is a wonderful option where you'll still get to see that child grow up and thrive and do the amazing things that they're going to be capable of one day. So many other good things come along with it that you can't even try to, see ahead of time. There's been so many additional amazing things that I've gotten out of this experience that you can't foresee. But, now looking back over the last 8 years, I just continue to get further confirmation every day that I absolutely made the right choice for everyone involved. And when he asks me one day why I chose to do this or what brought me to this decision, it's, going to be a lot easier to be able to tell him, because I loved you so much. I was ill-equipped when I was pregnant with you, but look at the life that you had, and I still get to be part of it. And look at how much better of a person I've become because I had the opportunity and chance to, without messing your life up in the process. But reaching out to you guys and asking for, just information and options was honestly the best decision I made. Even if I hadn't gone with adoption, it was really nice to have someone to talk to about what was going on, when otherwise I felt incredibly alone. And even just reaching out and getting that first contact in with you made me feel just, a little bit less so. And that in and of itself was amazing.